I gave a TEDx a while back, and I went out of my way to memorize it word for word. And I feel that that made it come off quite stilted. It wasn't a natural presentation because I'm literally reciting each and every word. So I prefer, if I'm going to do this, to do exactly the sort of key ideas as you teach in your course, and then, you know, allow the natural memory of what you wanted to say to sort of fill in that detail. So I think that's another misperception. I did it on purpose because I wanted to have it as a teaching example. But at the end of the day, I think more natural speech is much more delightful to listen to based on bullet points. But that said, one thing I notice, like, for example, in your course, you have a section, I think the guy's name is Montel Williams, and it's sort of like an example. And those are very artificial environments, at least my imagination of them. And yet you come across so natural on all your TV spots and so forth. Do they require you to, you know, sort of be aware of how they're shooting, what they're going to shoot, anything that you need to, you know, be on for at particular times when you're doing TV spots? Because it seems like a very artificial environment to me, but maybe I'm just imagining it the wrong way.
Yeah, no, it is an artificial environment. That TV spot that you were talking about, they had 15 or 20 people. Now, they told me in advance, hey, we're going to bring you here. There's going to be 15 or 20 or 25 people, whatever it was. They're going to say all their names, and you're going to go back and you're going to repeat all the names. But in general, whether I'm doing TV or whatever. Now, if it's a show like Stanley's Superhumans, they will say in advance, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take you to Home Depot. You're going to memorize the prices of the products, and then we're going to test you on the prices. That little bit of information gives me, I can develop a memory strategy, right? Okay, this is how I'm going to use character action for the prices, like 1947, character action for two digits. Yeah. Or they'll say, okay, we're going to have 15 girls give you their phone numbers. There was another TV show I did. Right. So I can develop a strategy. But I will say this, as far as my responses or just being prepared for any situation, man, it's just practice. It's just repetition. Keep this in mind. I've been doing this for 30 years. So the first 2 years was miserable. It was miserable. I was going to companies. I was fumbling through my words. My first speech, there was 5 people in the room. I only asked 3 of them their name because I didn't think I could remember all 5 names in 30 minutes. And so I only remembered 3 names in 30 minutes. And I was the memory guy. I was there to sell them on a memory course. So I would say over the past 30 years, I've given 2,000 talks on memory, 2,000 talks. Now that sounds outrageous, but keep in mind, from the ages of 18 to 28, I spoke for free. And so it was not uncommon for me to give 20 speeches a month. Matter of fact, that was the goal, give 20 speeches every month. Right. Here's the irony. The irony of irony. It's not the irony. It's not ironic. It's just crazy. Here's the crazy of crazies. The speech that I gave for 30 minutes over 1,000 times for free is the same speech now I get paid to give. I just perfected it. I learned what all the questions are going to be. I learned how to do the demonstration. I learned what to say when you don't get it perfect so that everybody laughs. And it's okay that you didn't get it perfect. And they even think that it was a setup just so you can say the joke. And it's not. I messed up, but they don't even know it. Right. So it's just repetition. It's getting it in your head, and it's willing to be terrible. And I was willing to be terrible. And for the first couple of years, I was terrible. The company that I went to work for almost fired me because I was the worst salesman in the company, selling memory.
Well, that's interesting. So you earned it, right? At the end of the day.
It's practice.
Well, that's one thing that I love about the course. I mean, I went through, and if you don't pass the test, you're not going to the next level. You know, and it makes you earn that. And I think that that's so interesting in many ways, but one of which is that on the internet, there's been a lack of a responsibility in education. There's sort of a minimum guidance, if any guidance, in terms of an actual person being there. And then there's no obstacle to overcome. Usually you're just through the course, skipping around, if you like. What's the story behind constructing the program that way, and what ideals do you have for what education should be, given the technology that we have to share with others our ideas?
Yeah, technology is definitely changing education. What are you in? What country are you in? I want to say Israel.
I'm in Australia right now.
Australia. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know why I thought that. I know we have a mutual friend, Jonathan, who is in Israel. So maybe that's it.
There's pictures of me in Israel.
I saw that. I saw one of your videos on that. And I also saw your TEDx talk, I believe, was how to give speeches without notes. Was that your TEDx talk?
No, that must be somebody else. Mine is it's called, I can't even remember the damn talk, but it's 2 questions that 2 simple questions that remove negative thinking, or 2 easily remembered questions that remove negative thoughts. Something like this.
Well, I will tell you this. You do have a YouTube though on how to give speeches from memory or have speeches without notes, because I saw that thumbnail and I think I just said, oh, that was his TEDx talk. So I didn't. That was my thought process. You do have a video on that.
Yeah, and it has the image of me giving a TEDx. Yes, that's.
Oh, the thumbnail. That's the thumbnail. Okay. So I was right. Okay. I know. So let's go back to your question, though. The memory guy didn't forget your question. Technology. And so about 2015 or 16, I'm sitting around with, I don't know if you know Scott Flansburgh. He is known as the human calculator.
Yep.
You know him? I was sitting around with Scott Flansburgh, myself, and a guy who does jujitsu. And the guy who does jujitsu, he said, you know what? Paul Halmy, who is my jujitsu coach, he said, Paul Halmy is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. My friend then pointed to Scott Flansburgh, and he said, you are a black belt in math, which if you know Scott, he is. You could say 592 times 362, and he could tell you the answer before the calculator does. So he says, Paul Halmy is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he pointed to Scott. You are a black belt in math. Then he pointed to me and said, you are a black belt in memory. Scott Flansburgh turns to me and he says, dude, that's the name of your new memory course, Black Belt Memory. And we all just looked at each other and all like, what? This conversation, having just us sitting around having a few beers, boom, sparked everything. So I went back and I thought, you know what? I do jujitsu. And one of the things that I love about jujitsu, and everybody loves, they love training. And then the teacher says, time for the test for your belt. And it is the blue belt is a great test in jiu-jitsu. What they'll do is you have no idea, at least at my school, you have no idea. You show up to class one day, you're a white belt, and the teacher will say, Anthony, get in the middle. And you're like, and everybody starts clapping because they know what's about to happen. You get in the middle of the ring. They set the timer for 30 1-minute rounds. And you get in the middle and you got to go for 30 minutes, and every minute a fresh person gets in. So you're doing 30 rounds against 30 people. Each person is fresh. By the 29th minute, you're exhausted, and then that guy's fresh. Here's the point. At the end, you get your blue belt. And I thought, wow, if I could duplicate this in memory where you learn something and then there's a test and you get a belt. Oh, what kind of motivation would that be? And to work your way up to a black belt in memory. So that's what the black belt memory course is. And it was based on that belt system where you earn belts and you advance up to the end and you earn a black belt in memory. But to go just in general answering your question, I think the reason that works in education is because we are, as humans, we do like recognition, and we like respect, and we like to be acknowledged for our achievement. And so to get a badge or a belt, even on Facebook, they'll give you, hey, you get a badge because you're the most frequent commenter in this group or whatever. Humans like that. They like recognition. They like feeling, oh, I did something and I'm getting acknowledged for it. So I think that, number one, humans like recognition, but also here's something very important. Humans like recognition only if they earned it. Now, they may take it if it wasn't earned, and they may take it if they cheated, but deep down inside, it doesn't give the same feeling of I earned it, and now I'm getting respect for it and acknowledgement for it.
Right.
So I think that is what I'm trying to model. And I think if more people did, now I hope I'm not asking any of my memory competition other than you, Anthony. You're not competition, we're competitors. Right. But I don't want any of you else of you doing this. The belt idea is mine. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. You get the idea here. So that's my answer on that, on education and why that works. And I do think online education is opening up a whole new world to